All right, welcome. We're going to talk today about your business plan and support you with some common problems that first timers get in terms of just kind of where to start and how to think about their business plan. So we're going to give you the crash course right now, and I can't wait to get started. So let me go ahead and share my screen, get the presentation up, and dive right into this. Okay, so we're going to talk about how to create a business plan that brings real value. So this is more than just creating a paperweight that's going to sit on your desk and live there forever. We're really going to create something that you can use to leverage it and maybe get something financially beneficial from it. Okay. So very first and foremost, we're going to talk about the key steps you need to start with. This is more of a mindset thing and kind of getting you on the right path to creating a powerful business plan so that you don't make some mistakes later on by just doing this first key step. And then we're going to talk about the business plan outline. So we're going to go through just the meat and potatoes of what your business plan has to have, no matter what your goal is. So if you're building a business plan for strategy, if you're building it for a nonprofit organization, if you're building it to get a bank loan, if you're building it to pitch to investors, these are the 10 sections you have to have in your business plan. Okay, we're going to cover them all in this presentation. And then we're going to talk about funding opportunities. These are the things that a lot of my clients tend to forget that they have available to them just because they weren't thinking about it, they weren't aware of it. So we're going to go through those so that you know kind of what power you have available to you in terms of using your business plan as something leverageable. For those of you that don't know me, in case this is your first time meeting me, my name is Ashley Cheeks. I do nothing but business plans and pitch consulting for investor funding opportunities. So if you ever need anything, please consider me a resource. I love giving things away and making sure people have what they need to succeed in their business. Okay. So going to the first thing here, I'm going to cover a lot in this short window, maybe about half an hour time. I did put all of the links that I'm planning to use, and if I have more after the presentation that I mentioned, I'll add them to it as well. But all on this one webpage, so writtensuccess.co/resources. If you do nothing else for this entire time with me, please just write this link down and I'll also put it somewhere else. You can click on it later and have it accessible to you because that's where I'm going to put everything from free templates, funding resources, information, as well as a contact form. So if you're doing something really specific and you're trying to, say you're trying to start a food truck and you really need help on where do I find equipment, or say you have an idea and you think it's maybe a really big deal and maybe patentable, maybe something you want to bring to market, you don't know where to start. Maybe you're trying to pitch something to your rich uncle to get him to fund your idea. Whatever it is that you're going through, I always give whatever I can in terms of solutions that are either in your budget or that save you time. So if you are, really, really short on time, you'd rather throw money at it and have it be done, you need a business plan finished, I'll give you a solution that matches that scenario. Or if you're really tight on cash right now and you just need some help that's really affordable, you don't have $10,000 to drop on a business plan, you really just have a few $100 that you're willing to put into making sure this thing is done right. Or if you need some support and direction on where to find investors or how to pitch to investors correctly. Whatever your scenario is, please use the contact form on this link on the resources page, and I will get back to you. If not me, then somebody on my team. But I try to answer at least half of all of the contact inquiries if I have time while I'm not doing business plans. So, but let me know what your problem is, what you're struggling with, and what questions you have. And I promise you, I will give you my best answer in terms of, what's the most affordable route, what's the fastest route, just so we can make sure you're taken care of, because I want to make sure that you have what you need to succeed in whatever you're doing. Okay. All right, so first and foremost, the reason why most people right now are looking into, finishing their business plan quickly, smartly, leveraging it intelligently, is because the next couple quarters, this is a common time of the year for people to be planning and creating action in terms of bringing their ideas to reality. This is a unique opportunity moment whenever this kind of thing happens in terms of just being the right time of the year, right time in your personal life. Maybe you've had an idea you've been sitting on for a while and you're finally like, no, I'm going to take action on this now. That creates a really unique opportunity because you're already putting momentum behind it. So just by taking this course, you're already giving yourself the momentum that you need to really take this thing to the next level. So that puts yourself in a unique opportunity position. And so we're going to make sure that you have what you need to do this right. So the first and foremost things to get out of the way here, most people don't finish a business plan. they just won't do it. They will start it. They might even do a whole bunch of it, but it's never really done. And it's usually either because they go, oh, I'm really bad at writing, so they make up for it by like writing way too much or researching way too much. Or they go, oh, you know what, Ashley, I'm just really bad with numbers, so I left the whole forecast section blank, or I don't even want to get started because I don't really know how much to ask for or how much I need. Or they'll even say, you know, I think I need a lot of money and I'm scared to put that number on paper. Whatever it is, the numbers is a big sticking point for at least a third of the people that I work with. And then the other folks, they go, I just don't have time to put a business plan together. It takes about 60 hours to put together your first business plan. That's the average. So they go, I don't have an extra, couple weeks of my life to just dedicate to a business plan. So they let that stop them from ever doing anything at all with it. So the purpose of this is to give you just the core stuff that you need and make sure that you have the shortest path to finishing your business plan, regardless of if you've ever done one before, if you've, graduated 8th grade or you have an MBA, whatever your situation is, we're going to make sure that you get this thing done and done without too much headache. So the first thing that you need to do, and if you're not already taking notes, please get something to write with, because we're going to dive in and it's going to go really fast from here. So the first thing you have to do is begin with a monetary goal for your business plan. Before you put a word or a number on your paper, you have to have that goal in your mind. And that could be something that you want to fundraise, or something that you want to get from an investor or a bank loan. Could be just a revenue goal, a sales goal, a target that you have for income for your business. And this is really important to do before you do anything else in your entire effort. The reason why it's so important, the way that you think about the money associated with your business plan changes how you look at your entire business plan. So it impacts all the core components. It impacts your financials, right? So if you're thinking about using this business plan to get $1 million from an investor, that's going to change how you think about everything from your asking amount to what revenue targets you need to hit, what your cost structure is going to be, because you have to now reverse engineer how are we going to invest that $1 million into the business. But if you don't have that target to begin with, then you don't have a clear starting point for your numbers. And it really hurts everything to have to go back later and redesign it all around that magic number you need. So think about that right now. Think about when it comes to your marketing strategy. Again, is it $1 million? Maybe it's not. Maybe it's $50,000 you want to somehow bring in through either an investment, a bank loan, or maybe just through sales. How you work around your research and your planning and your marketing strategy, that is very different for somebody using a business plan for $50,000 versus using it for $1 million. You can see that kind of right out the gate changes the way that you think about your entire plan. And of course, if you're thinking about growth, so say you're an existing business and you're looking at trying to expand your operations, expand it to what? What is the magic number you want to reach? If you are maybe your business brings in 100,000 now and you want it to bring in 250,000 next year. How does your business plan walk to that number? And how do you do it in a way that's strategic? You can't make that number a reality unless you've started with that as your goal from the beginning. So it's really important to understand what it is that you're trying to chase, because it changes the nuances and the feel and the attitude you have towards every single section of your business plan. And also remember that your business plan is something that's going to be a tool for you, and there is no such thing as a bad goal, as a bad number. So I want you to remember that if you feel in your gut, in your heart, in your soul that what you really need is like $100 million, do not be afraid to write that down. I'm dead serious. I've done business plans for things that you'd be shocked that they were worth, cash of that caliber, and they get funded. All right. I've used this example in a lot of my other speeches and events. The Snuggie was a robe put on backwards, right? That thing made somebody a millionaire. There's no reason why your idea has to be an astronomical, crazy, convoluted thing for it to make a lot of money or be worth a huge investment or be worth a big sales number. It just has to be something that you're dedicated to and you're willing to fight for, and money becomes a non-issue. And I hope that you feel really comfortable with that, whatever your sales goal is and your asking amount is, because being comfortable with that and taking kind of, is this a big number, a small number? Have I ever seen this amount of money before in my life? None of that matters. All that matters is that you know what your goal is. And as long as you know what it is and take your emotion out of it and chase it, you will attain it. All right. So don't be afraid of whatever your number is. So the first and most important question, ask yourself, what is the amount of money that would make a difference in your business? So again, whatever it is, however big or small. That number needs to be in your executive summary, and that we'll talk about that in just a second. But that's going to be the number that you basically put first and foremost as the focal point for your entire business planning effort. That number is going to be something that becomes your target for sales, your target for investing, your target for the bank loan, and you're going to reverse engineer everything else from that magic number. So don't be shy, be aggressive with it, be proud of that number, whatever that number is. On the resources page, I'll also make sure to add an asking amount worksheet for you. And it'll simply help you kind of think about, maybe you don't have a number, you can't even begin to wrap your mind around it. Use that worksheet. I'll make it a free download on the page. And it'll help you to kind of calculate out, okay, well, how much could I theoretically need for marketing? How much could I need for, maybe an operations cost? Maybe you need to buy something equipment wise, whatever your scenario is, use that worksheet to kind of walk you to your asking amount. And that might take some of the anxiety out of trying to figure out what that magic number is for you. All right, so before we dive into the next section, I want to first preface, you have to remember that templates are guides. They are not Bible. So if you are, for instance, if you've ever seen the SBA template from the Small Business Administration, it's the last one I saw that wasn't the abbreviated one. It's 46 pages of just instructions. It's crazy. And then I've seen my clients, they'll download it from the SBA.gov website, and they'll have the mission statement written in and the purpose, and maybe some sales data. And then they go, Ashley, I don't know how to do the rest of this. And then we'll sit down with it together and go, oh, okay, well, the reason why you can't do the rest of this is because it doesn't apply to your business, right? So there'll be for instance, an aging accounts page table that says, write in how your cash ages over 30 days or your net receivables and all. And I'll say, client, you have a food truck. You don't have account receivable. You're a cash business. So it's all instant. So this whole section of the template doesn't even apply to you. But the reason why it's so confusing and overwhelming for people is there's no magic formula for people to follow in terms of, scratch that whole section or scratch all of these sections. They don't apply to my business. And instead, what folks will do is they'll say, well, I don't understand it. And I don't know if I need it or don't need it. And I don't want to scratch it because I don't understand it. Maybe I do need it and I don't know it. And then they'll let that be a red flag to them and they'll just stop altogether. Right. And so don't let that stop you. The template is a guide. It's a cookie cutter thing for everybody. And that's why it's so horrible for most businesses, because it's trying to cater to everyone and it doesn't apply to most people. I do have on the resources page, I will have as soon as this is over, I'll add in the templates. So I have a free template kit that I give away to folks who buy my book. I'll make that available to you on the page and just use that and download it. That's my template. That template follows the next slides that we're going to go through right now in terms of the sections. And then if you already bought the book or you haven't, or you'd like to, you can buy the book that goes with it and gives you real in-depth instructions on how to use this template kit to its fullest. But at the very least, use a free template kit, fill in the blank. It's not rocket science, and it should be helpful for you. So you don't have to pay for anything. You can just use what's there and see if that helps you get over whatever hump you're facing. All right, so this section is going to, again, go quickly. We're going to go through just the core sections. Again, there's 10 sections. I don't care what business you have, if you're designing airplanes or if you are, selling lawn mowing service, whatever your business is, these are the 10 sections you have to have in your business plan. If you go away with nothing else, know that these 10 constitute a complete business plan. I'll say it again. These 10 sections, when you have these in your business plan, you can call it done. Could it be better, more robust? It depends on your business. But for most businesses, this is really all you need, okay? So diving in, first one, executive summary. You could have guessed it. The executive summary does not need to be anything complicated. It should be one page if at all possible. In the template kit that I have, that I'm gonna have on the resources page, it's the style that I created a while back. I worked with a whole bunch of investors and did surveys on kind of what do you want to see in a snapshot? And this is what I came out with, and they liked it. And this is what is used in the book and is a new standard today. So this has your core information on one side in terms of your asking amount and kind of what your business is, what year was established for the founders. And then in the middle, it has a really quick overview of what it is you're doing and what is the industry, and then a little revenue table at the bottom. It is literally your elevator speech in one nutshell. So definitely use that template if you feel a little stuck on the executive summary. It should be fewer words than you think. It's not something that's very comprehensive. It is purely an overview of your entire business. And you've probably heard from other people, write the executive summary section last. I definitely stand by that advice. It's going to help you not get stuck, because it should just be a regurgitation of other parts of your business plan, just kind of summarized in that one page. All right, the next section should be your owner's biography. This is going to be your executive team overview. This is going to be whoever the founding people are, and I'm very, very specific about this. Do not put in everybody in your business on this section. You really only want the people that own the business here. So if it's just you, then you will have one person in your executive team section, in your owner's biography section. If there's you and a spouse, or if there's you and a partner, or you and maybe two advisors that are really like putting all of this together, you all have equal ownership of your company, put you three in there. Whatever that that team looks like, this is where you're going to explain who they are, why they're so powerful for your business. And you're really going to give an overview of their motivators. You want to talk about what it is about them that makes this business more prone to success because they're a part of it. So if that person has done other businesses in the past, make sure you mention that in the owner's biography section. Or if you have always been launching businesses your entire life, maybe you had a childhood lemonade stand, and since then you've just been on this crazy, path towards, I'm going to make something work, I'm going to launch a business, where maybe you have grown other businesses. This is where you really brag about what you've accomplished. And might I add, this is where a lot of people get stuck in terms of their education. I want you to know that it doesn't matter as much what you've done with your education. So if you were a high school dropout, or if you have a doctorate degree, it matters a lot less unless it's a positive accomplishment. So if you went to an Ivy League school and you got straight A's and graduated magna cum laude, great. List that. That's a great accomplishment, and that does bring some positive value to your business plan. If you didn't finish school for some reason, or you never had any kind of college experience, or whatever your case is, you don't have to talk about that. You can just ignore that section and focus on your experience. Focus on the real world stuff that you've learned along the way, and that is going to be fine. Nobody's going to go, oh, well, this guy didn't put his education in there, so we're not going to give him a bank loan. No, I promise you they're not going to do that. If they do, email me, tell me, so that I can, I don't know, fix it myself, a business plan on the house, okay? But just remember that your owner's biography is about your strengths. Really talk about the good that you're bringing to the table, that you and your team have together collectively. This is not a place to get self-conscious. This is not a place to say, oh, well, I didn't go to school, or I haven't launched a business before, I've never done. That's not where we talk about this. Get that out of your head. That doesn't matter. Right now, all that matters is why this is good, why you are the right person, why your team is the right team. Think about those things. And again, if you need help, use the contact form on the resources page. Happy to give you some support there. All right, the next section, the market analysis. This is where you're going to talk about the broader industry. You need to do your research on this section. Now, this is not just a brain dump of everything you know about your industry. This is going to be really specifically data-driven. So you need to do some research. There's some reports out there that you can pull on your industry, or if you're a really good researcher, you can do it yourself. You can research your own organic information and pull it in. So this is stuff like trends in the industry that impact your business. So for instance, for car washes, in certain states and cities, they have pollen seasons, and seasonality changes, and that changes how, the car counts and how many people are getting a wash for a certain set of months. So maybe in this section, you can talk about, this is a seasonality curve for car washes during this period. Therefore, I'm going to launch at the beginning of this peak, right? Use that market data to drive your decisions. Or maybe it's, if you're doing a brick and mortar restaurant, you can use your market analysis to do your demographic research, understand the area you're moving into, and really hone in on the factors that are going to help make you a success in terms of understanding who your customers are and understanding what's the need. Maybe there's no barbecue restaurants in 5 miles. This is kind of where you put that information into your business plan. And then the competitor research. So this is where you really hone in on who else is doing something great, who else is doing something terrible, and who else is doing something in parallel that's going to be different from you, but that you can drive inspiration from. So the competitor research section isn't ever optional. I've had clients come and say, what, Ashley, there really is nobody else doing what I'm doing. I'm a unicorn. I'm really unique in this. But I want you to know right now that does a disservice to you and a disservice to anybody reading your business plan. In fact, I've seen investors throw out business plans just because they claim, oh, there are no competitors. If there aren't any today, there could be tomorrow. And so if you don't feel like you have a competitor right now, one thing you can do is look at who could be a competitor. I had one client who was doing an online shopping platform. And he said, well, there's nobody else doing this, and this is really unique. And I said, okay, Greg, what if somebody comes in and tries to duplicate what you're doing tomorrow because you don't have a patent on this? It's not really something you can protect with intellectual property protections legally. What if they duplicate you? And he said, well, they would never do that because I've been working on this for years. I said, Greg, the reality is if somebody like Amazon were to come in and see what you're doing and duplicate it, they have the money, they have the manpower, they could duplicate it a lot faster than what it took for you to build it. And that's okay. That doesn't mean you shouldn't do your idea. It just means you need to be aware of, if you don't have a competitor today, who could it be tomorrow, hypothetically? So as you think about your business, you think about your competitors, I want you to understand who is out there today that is already doing it. Maybe they're doing it great. Maybe there's a competitor that's actually perfect at what they do, and you just want to enter in the space as well. If that's the case, make sure you talk about the things in their business that you want to emulate, things that you want to copy, things that you want to like, oh, that they did that really good. I want to do that too in my business. And then things that they did badly, poorly, things that you want to improve on. Maybe they have really bad customer service, but they have a great product. That can be something you mentioned in your competitor research to say, hey, they've got a great product, but their customer service is terrible. I'm going to come in and offer the best customer service on the market for this niche. Whatever it is, you want to make sure you just outline it there so that you have on paper a clear understanding of what it is you're working with your competitor landscape. And then your market entry strategy. So if you followed, this really goes from bigger to smaller. So we talk about the market analysis in the third section. That's the bigger picture. The competitors are in your initial, your smaller space. And then the market entry is, okay, how are you going to drill down and capture a really specific piece of the customer base? So the market entry strategy is all about how are you going to enter, launch, and grow in a unique way that makes you competitive against the other competitors and fill a need that exists in this market based on the market research you've done. All right, the next 5 sections. So the operations plan is number 6. The operations plan is the how. This is where you get into, we know the market entry strategy. Here's how we're going to actually execute it. This is the day-to-day operations. It is the initial launch as well, but it's things like ongoing marketing and hiring and what your plans are long-term. And then you want your SWOT analysis. Man, the sun is bright. The SWOT analysis is going to be something that you put in there. And for those of you that are unfamiliar with SWOT, it's the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Now, these are going to be simpler than most people think. So you really should just have 1 or 2 things in each section. A lot of people will go have a page for each section. You don't have to do that. You can fit a whole SWOT analysis on 1 page. Basically, for instance, thinking about the S and W of your SWOT, the strengths and weaknesses, those are internal. So that is what is the internal strength and weakness of my business? If you are not a numbers person and you are the only founder in your company, that is a weakness because you have a gap in somebody that knows numbers. So you can put as a weakness on your SWOT, I don't really have a CFO. I don't have somebody in my business that is great with numbers. And then you say, but I will correct that by, and then put your mitigation plan, your plan to fix that later. And with your strengths, same thing. If maybe you're an amazing marketing mind, or maybe you understand sales really well, or people just, you can sell anything to anyone, you can make that a strength. Your internal strength in your company is that the founder, you have a really great way to sell things easily to people. You don't have to outsource sales. You don't have to hire a bunch of salespeople. You already have it on board, and it's a huge strength in your business. The O and the T, opportunities and threats of the SWOT analysis, those are external. So the SW is internal strengths and weaknesses, and the OT is the external. So an external opportunity, for instance, say there's a tax cut that's coming for small business owners next quarter. That is an opportunity that's going to benefit your business. That's going to help you because the government's giving you, some tax perks that are going to help your costs. Or if there's a threat coming, say there is a potential competitor that's going to move in down the street that's looking at another location that's right close to you, or say there is somebody like Amazon out there that could copy your business very easily, like almost too easily to where you're kind of scared about it. You can call that a threat, an external threat for your business as your SWOT analysis T. So again, all these should be simple, 1 or 2 things that really directly impact the core pieces of your business. Don't overanalyze it. You can put it, you don't even have to make it a sentence. You could just put it as kind of a note in bullet form and have 1 or 2 bullets per section in your SWOT analysis, and that suffices the section. The next section of your business plan should be the schedule. I like schedules to be quarterly. So looking at 3-month snapshots of, okay, in this 3 months, we're going to do this, and then we're going to do this, and then we're going to do this. But whatever your timeline is, make sure it at least spans 1 year, if not 2 or 3 years, depending on how much you have going on in the future. So I've had folks, for instance, that have, I had a gentleman that was launching a gas station franchise. And so his SWOT analysis spanned 3 years. And by the 3rd year, he planned to have 6 different locations. And so year 1 was all about making the flagship perfect. Year 2 was about scouting the next locations and, putting down the initial leases and build plans. And then year 3 was all about growing and launching those operations. So you know what your business is, you know what your growth goals are. So you're just putting this in a timeline format to make sure that those goals are on paper. All right, and then the 9th section is the financials. Again, does not have to be complicated. The template kit that I'll put for free on the website has an Excel-based template. So you plug in your numbers, it spits out the graphs and charts and the forecasts for you. If you want something that's more digital, that's a software. I will add a LivePlan link as well on the resources page, so you can use LivePlan. It's a great software. It's simple, it's straightforward. The biggest downside with LivePlan is if you're using it for banks or investors, it's a little bit of a pain. And I've had a lot of clients be forced to take it out of LivePlan and use it, do a different route, whether it's putting it in Word or having a professional develop it, because LivePlan doesn't do a great job sometimes of the organization, and the output of it is just kind of clunky. But it's still a great tool, especially if you're doing it for your own strategy only. All right, so do your financials for the 9th section. And then the 10th is just your appendices. So anything that you couldn't put into the other sections comfortably, put it in the appendix. Don't try to cram it in just for the sake of cramming it in. So I've had folks with like a 6-page executive summary, and they're like, oh, it has to be in there. It's important information. It's really key. And I know it's hard to decide kind of what stays and what should be moved. I really, really strongly suggest that you please try to stick to that 1-page format for the executive summary. Keep all the other sections super short and abbreviated, and throw everything else, everything. If you have a patent, if you have testimonials, maybe results from an early survey you did with customers, floor plans, designs, anything like that that doesn't perfectly fit into another section of your business plan, put it in an appendix section so that when anybody's flipping through it, including you later, you're really just flipping through the core document as the first section of your document, and everything else can come later, okay? It helps with keeping it unburdened for reviewing later, and it's also just really helpful in terms of thinking through the focus of what your business plan needs to cover. All right, so those are the 10 sections. I will make sure these are available on the website as well. And let me go ahead and make one more point here. So in terms of sorry, the sun's so bright. I'm trying to block it a little bit. In terms of your content, try to veer towards clarity over formality always. So if you're ever wondering, should I keep writing, or should I make this sound smarter? I get that all the time. People go, oh, I just kept writing and writing and writing because I feel like I didn't say it right, or it didn't sound great. It doesn't have to sound brilliant. It just has to make sense. Okay, so do not convolute it or overcomplicate it with really long sentences or really big words. If there's a simpler way to say it, simplify it down. Because what you'll see is, especially if you're using this for fundraising, I cannot stress this enough, it's more important that an investor or a lender or a potential partner understands it from an elementary level than it is for them to feel like, wow, this person was really smart who wrote this. They don't care. In fact, the smarter you seem to sound, you might actually turn off your audience, because they'll go, well, this is over my head, so this business is too smart for me because I don't get it. You don't want that response. So you really want to keep it as simple as you can. Don't worry about formality. Don't worry about it being grammatically perfect. It needs to be, proper in terms of its writing, but it shouldn't be overly formal. It shouldn't be overly complicated. Really veer towards clarity over formality every single time. All right, so now we're going to get into funding opportunities. We're going to talk about the things that I want you to just make sure they're there. I get folks all the time that go, I didn't know that was even an option. I never thought about investors. It wasn't even like a thing to me. I've only ever thought about them when I watched Shark Tank, and that's not something I ever thought was accessible for me. I'm telling you, there's a ton of money out there for businesses, for entrepreneurs. Your business plan is always the anchor document to get that funding, which is why you need to think about it before you write your business plan, because if your business plan is going to be used to get your money, that's going to change how your business plan effort goes, okay? Because you want to get it right. So for the investors, first and foremost, there's a lot of state-specific and location-specific investment networks. I'm the resident pitch consultant for 12 state networks in the US, as well as for Canada. And there's one coming, another one international. These investment networks are really awesome because they have, a lot of them have kind of a forum opportunity where you just jump in, share your idea. Most of them have some kind of NDA or proprietary protection point in there somewhere. But you just share kind of what you're doing, and investors, mind you, some of them are, school teachers with big 401ks and they just want to invest their money somewhere else. Some of them are personally wealthy individuals. Some of them just got an inheritance and they're like, I want to do something smart with my money. Maybe I'll invest into a startup. There's a whole range of people that are, willing to give 20,000 to a good startup, people that are willing to give millions, and you never know who you're going to get on these networks. So it's really awesome to kind of go out and tease like who's out there, who's interested, and they use your business plan as the anchor. Again, this is like your number one document you need to have handy. And then they'll reach out to you and say, hey, I really want to get involved in what you're doing. I love what you're trying to launch. Sorry, the sun's moving on me again. So these networks are really powerful in terms of having kind of an opportunity to pitch to people that are looking for really smart people to invest into. There's also platforms, angel.co is one. Pitch Investors Live is a personal favorite of mine. I'm actually their pitch educator. I don't get anything for recommending you to them. So there is no incentive on my part. I just think they're an amazing organization. They're really cool because they take Shark Tank, the concept of Shark Tank, and they put it on a digital platform and they make it on demand. So you can pitch to shark investors live, and they've got other pieces and components in there that make it to where it's even easier to raise funding on their platform than it is on most investor networks. So I recommend it totally. I'll put the link on the resources page there as well. And then there's a ton of private equity, corporate investors, other sources where people have either money in pools, big funds of money that they're just looking to put into startups, or personal angel investors that are looking to support new businesses that they like. So there's tons of investors, there's tons of cash out there. Again, I've seen some really, really awesome ideas get funded, some really surprising things get funded. So don't ever think that your idea isn't fundable or that it's too simple to be funded or too complex. Everything from blockchain to real estate to businesses that are, platforms as a service and software as a service and online spas. I've seen it's really, really crazy, especially post-COVID. The ideas have just gone way all over the place. So I definitely want you to remember that you have options in terms of investors. If a bank loan is something that you've either already decided you think you want, or if you've been a little hesitant to go towards the banks, there are a lot of programs and loans. Oh my goodness, the sunshine. There's a lot of programs and loans out there that that cater to small businesses. So you've probably already heard of the SBA, the Small Business Administration. They partner with banks to make loans favorable for small businesses just starting out. There's also lines of credit. There's really smart people that can help you leverage your situation in terms of kind of, if you don't have the best credit score in the world, or if you don't have a down payment, there's other things that you can do based on your situation that you can leverage and tap into that most people don't even know about. So if you feel like that might be something you're interested in, email me, use the contact form on the resources page, and I'll make sure to connect you in whatever way that I can with the right professionals, because there's definitely a ton of options that I'm still learning about. It surprises me every year when I do my touch up with my my finance counterpart, because he's always like, Ashley, there's all this new cool new stuff that you can use. And I'm like, awesome. And then there's other bank loans. So every institution has their own loan programs. Not every bank uses SBA. So not every bank has SBA lending as an option. So especially in those cases, they usually have their own variety of small business loans. So visit your bank. Whoever you've been banking with the longest is usually the right way to go in terms of exploring that a bit further. And then finally, grants. So people overlook this a lot, or they'll convolute the benefits of a grant versus crowdfunding, which is a whole nother thing. I'll talk about that another time. But for grants are really cool because you don't have to repay them. They're usually something that you get free and clear. Depending on the kind of grant, you have to do some annual reporting or some things that kind of explain how you're using the money as time goes on. But essentially, you can get grants for like almost anything. It's just a matter of finding the grant. It's usually the harder part. There's a lot of grants out there for special interest projects. So if you're doing something that helps the homeless or veterans or the elderly, or if you're doing something that helps inner city kids, whatever your target audience is or the ultimate benefit, if it's a social benefit especially, you can probably find cash for it. And there's also money for all kinds of different things like infrastructure and stuff that as long as you contribute to that industry, you might find that there are grants available to you. There's also more generic grants like the Awesome Foundation. So they do $1,000 grants every month by location, and it's just kind of what idea they see as cool. It's so informal, and their application process is really crazy simple. It's just kind of tell us about your idea, and we'll give you $1,000 grant if we like it. Super simple, and you can apply over and over again too, which is really neat. So that's one of my favorite foundations. And then there's also others for state specific, city specific, region specific, based on your location. I know there's a ton of them that support African-based projects. There's also some that regionally support a lot in the US. Essentially, if you're somewhere, in fact, and in the UK as well, wherever you are, do a search and say grants plus sign, and then your city and state or your country or your region, and you'll be surprised at some of the things that pop up for you. It's really amazing how much free money is just out there for the taking. Before you do all of that, get your business plan finished, because whether you're a nonprofit or not, you don't have to be a nonprofit to get a grant. And just because you're a nonprofit, that doesn't mean you don't need a business plan. You always need a business plan, because that's going to have the guts of any grant application in it. So it's going to have your project timeline, it's going to have your operation schedule, kind of your financial forecast. You need all of that for most grant applications. So again, your business plan is your anchor. All right, that takes us to the end, and I went a little bit further or over time than I intended, so forgive me for that. But again, go to this website, writtensuccess.co/resources. That is everything. I'll go back through this presentation deck and make sure everything's in it. And I'll make sure that the contact form is live and ready to roll too, because I want you to be able to reach out to me. Let me know what you're working on. What is your business? What is your current problem or question? And I promise to give you whatever I can that might help you, whether that's, here's some services to try, here's some templates to consider, whatever I can give you, I will, I promise. And again, if I can't get to you personally, my team will get to you quickly, because I don't want you waiting while I'm, knocking out business plans. Thank you so much for your time. Best of luck, entrepreneur, and please let me know how things are going.